swim podcast because I'm big and I'm friendly, and today's guest comes from University of Indiana. Anna, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. We're just gonna dive right in. So, speaking of Indiana, can you talk about your experience there and like what initially brought you to that school?
Yeah, so I'm a junior now. I'm majoring in sports marketing and management, and I would say what brought me to the school, other than the amazing team culture and amazing team atmosphere, is the coach swimmer connection. The coaches really pride themselves on knowing all their athletes and having individual meetings with athletes where they don't even have to talk about swimming, and that in my opinion, really sets people up for success outside of swimming because, swimming's going to end eventually for everyone. And so they really care about, who you are as a person and how you're developing as a person. And I think that really helps with our team culture. And the coaches really set that standard. So, we leave everything at the pool, but outside of the pool, we're all one big family. And, the coaches really kind of set that standard for us, kind of being people outside of swimming and always being there for each other as a family. So that was one of the biggest reasons why I came to IU.
So, actually, I got to chat with Ray Luz in I think like February, and like what you're saying is reminding me of what he said, talking about like making sure that you have successful athletes and successful people, and that they're ready for their time after swimming, and they're still happy pursuing things besides just doing swimming alone.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I was just saying that the coaches really do a good job of taking time out of their day to know all their athletes individually, and it's a really good opportunity, I would say, to have the coaches as kind of like family as well, and not just like a coach on the pool that telling you what to do. It's they can kind of tell you what to do, and you can almost sometimes tell them what to do. So it's just a good mutual connection that we have on our team.
I think that's become like an atmosphere that a lot of like top end D1 coaches have adopted, because what you're saying is similar to stuff that like Todd DeSorbo and Braden Holloway and like any of the D1 coaches that I've gotten to talk to, of like a happy swimmer is a fast swimmer, and if you can foster that culture of like creating a family and an atmosphere where people feel comfortable with each other, like it'll just breed positivity and success.
Right. Yeah. I've always said happy swimmers are fast swimmers. I remember my club coach would always tell me that. And I always try to tell my teammates that when they're nervous before a race. And the coach, something that the coaches also tell us is swim like stupid simple. So not only like are you having fun when you're like swimming, but almost like swim stupid simple. So you don't need to overcomplicate things. You've done the training, you put in the hard work. All you can do now is just race and race the person next to you and swim stupid simple. That's all it really is. So
At that point, it's just about like trusting the training that you've done, like knowing that okay, all the work that muscle memory can just take over.
yeah, that's the biggest part.
So, besides the trials this past summer, you went to Olympic trials in 2021, and then you swam at U.S. Nationals at the international team trials in 2022. Can you talk about your emotions headed into U.S. trials this year, and sort of if you had any expectations for yourself, and then how that week went for you?
Yeah, so I would say that I've definitely been to quite a few high pressure meets, Big Tens, NCAAs, US trials, Olympic trials. And going into this summer, I felt like it was just different. And I think that's mainly because, like, I wasn't necessarily putting pressure on myself, but I kind of felt like I had an opportunity to do something really special, to which I did. And it was an amazing opportunity, an amazing experience. And, walking in to the IU Natatorium and just seeing the pool look completely different, I was like, wow, like something special can really happen at this meet. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is yet, but I feel like something really special is going to happen here. Seeing all the big lights and all the people there at every final session and prelims, and the curtains and all the people there that were just trying to, race. And going into it, I was definitely a little bit nervous, putting a little bit of pressure on myself here and there. But once again, like swimming stupid simple is how I swim best. And so I was just kind of trusting my training going into it and, just kind of having fun with it. That's really all it is. And yeah, so.
It seemed like that week as a whole, Indiana swimmers were doing pretty well. I mean, like it was at your home pool, so it would make sense that you guys know that pool pretty well.
Oh yeah, we swim at that pool so much. It was just like another swim meet there, other than like the curtains and the lights, which you can't have it be too distracting to you, because if you have it be too distracting, then it's like okay, like this is a really high pressure meet when it's just in reality another meet at the IU Natatorium.
Now, actually, this is just my curiosity. Were you guys able to still use your normal locker rooms and facilities while the meet was going on, or was that like set
Well,
aside for like the everybody that was there?
yeah, so we actually don't swim at that pool. We swim at a pool in Bloomington. It's about like an hour south of there. But for the swimmers that were swimming there, I think they still were able to use their regular locker room, but they had all the locker rooms open in the facility for everyone to use. So you could pretty much use any locker room you wanted to, which is convenient.
Nice. Sorry, that was just like my curiosity sprang up. So after placing seventh initially in the 200 free, it was announced a few days later that Katie Ledecky would be dropping the 200 free from her individual events. So when did you know, and when did they like officially tell you you were on the world championship team?
Yeah, so this is a feeling and experience that I will never forget. Worlds itself and training trip, that was just like it was so awesome. But I remember specifically when it happened. We were all eating our dinner super fast because we wanted to leave after the last final session, and I think we were eating Panda Express maybe, and I was sitting on the back teacher, and and Ray, my coach, he comes up to me and he goes, "Anna, you're gonna want to hear this," and I was like shoving my face with food. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, what are you talking about? He was like, "You're gonna want to hear this. Like, come down." And I was like, okay, like what's going on? And all my other coaches like started to surround us because they knew. And I see Lindsay Matenko walking over, and I was like, okay, like maybe it's something for Pan American Games because like I would have been going to that meet. And so I was like, all right, like, okay, like maybe it's something for Pan American Games. I'll stop shoving my face now. And so I set my food down, and Ray's like, you're going to hear this? I'm like, okay, okay. And so I get down, and Lindsay Matenko hands me the orange envelope that you get when you make the world's team, and it's with all the certificates and stuff. And so she hands me this envelope, and she's like, I want to welcome you to the 2023 World Championship team. And I was like, and then I looked at Ray, and he was looking at me smiling. And the first thing I said was, "Is this a joke?" Because I don't know, I was so confused. I was like, what's happening here?" And then Corey started laughing. He's another one of my coaches. He started laughing. He was like, "No, it's not a joke." And I was like, "How is this?" Because like I was really confused. And she was like, "Hey, Ledecky scratched the 200 free individual. Like it bumps you up to sixth place. You'll be on the relay. We want to welcome you to this team." And I started crying. I was just so shocked. I was like, what? I was in distraught. And then after that, Ray gave me a big hug. Corey gave me a hug, and Lindsay Matenko gave me a big hug. And I was just like, wow, this is amazing. Like this is a dream come true. And like this is something you see in the movies, like things didn't really go as well as you wanted them to, and then they do, and then it's like you so like it was just crazy. So then I walked back to the area where you get your shirt, and all the other Team USA people are back there, and I started meeting people, and I was on the wrong side. We walked out to take a big picture, and the girls were on one side, the guys were on the other side, and I was talking to people, and next thing I knew, I was on the guys' side, and I was like, wait, I can't be over here, and so I ran over to the other side. And it was a night full of so many emotions. And after the meet was over and before I found out, I was still super excited to be able to represent like the United States on my first team, which was going to be the Pan American team, and like to be with those people. It hadn't been announced yet, but I figured since I was like seventh that I would have made that team. And when Katie scratched, I was behind behind the pool, and I remember just hugging her, and I was just like, this is amazing. It was overall a really great experience, and something that I'll remember forever and cherish forever and talk about forever, because like that feeling was just something that was so unmatched. And all my teammates were just so happy, and they were confused too. They were just like, what? Because like we didn't really know that that could have been a possibility, especially like in the moment. So yeah, long story
It's
short.
happened a few times where like the top swimmer, like I remember it happened like an example that I can think of is like in 2012, Michael Phelps dropped the 200 free from his event schedule, and it bumped up somebody, I think like Davis Tarwater or something. Like that's the
Yeah.
level of swim nerd that my brain is at. But it's happened a few times, but I feel like USA Swimming has always been kind of wishy-washy about it.
Hmm.
Like sometimes the top swimmer will scratch and then they won't bring up seventh place. But it seems like this year especially they wanted to get as many like swimmers relay opportunities as possible and just opportunities to swim on like a senior international stage.
Yeah, I was super excited going into this summer because there was many opportunities to have like international competition experience, and the EU games that was in the end, or I think it was in the beginning of August. That was another great opportunity for people to just get that international experience going into trials next summer.
That
So,
was an interesting meet. It was the first time they've held something like that, and it
mhm.
was kind of cool that they like had medals for like the European swimmers, but then like if somebody who wasn't from Europe placed in the top three, they still got like an honorary medal.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that. I thought that was like kind of cool, like a way to like make sure everybody gets honored, but prioritizing like the European swimmers that like the meet is based around.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. It's definitely a good opportunity. And I think there was 7 girls and 7 guys that were on that team. So pretty small team, but still enough to be effective for just some international racing. So
Yeah. So speaking of international racing, you made your first world championship team. How did that first senior international experience? How did it go, and like how was it? And then on a subsequent level, how did it fuel you going into Olympic trials next summer?
yeah, so after I made the team, we had about a week at home, or just a week to kind of like get in preparation for it. And so I was just sticking to my normal training going into like when we were about to leave. And kind of at first, I was a little bit nervous just because I knew of all the people that were on the team and I just knew of all those people, but I didn't know really many of them personally. And so I was kind of nervous going in at first because I was like, oh gosh, like what if I don't fit in? Like, what if this? What if that? It's easy to ask yourself like all these what if questions going into like such a huge meet and such like a big team that's really high like accomplishing and stuff. And so and having this be my first international meet, I was like, all right, like I don't really know any of these people. And that was almost like my biggest concern was just the people on the team. But after a few days of, everyone being jet lagged and all that stuff kind of going away of traveling to Singapore, we all clicked like that. And, a lot of those people were already previously friends, but I just clicked with the team so well that it fueled me for more, I would say. And so like being on that team and like accomplishing what that team accomplished and what we did this summer, it really fuels you for what's to come next and what you can still accomplish next. And I was just so motivated after that whole experience of being gone for a month that I was like, I want to get back to training now. I don't want to take any break after this. And I did end up taking a little bit of a break just because it's good for your mindset and stuff. But it just really fueled me for what's to come next, and especially going into next summer. And it's good to focus on short course training, but as well as like long course because that's what trials and the Olympics are going to be. And just overall being ready for what's to come next and staying motivated. So it was great. It was an awesome, awesome experience.
I think Team USA in particular has always done a pretty good job of like those people like the veterans, like in now it's like Katie Ledecky and Ryan Murphy, but like in the past, like Natalie Coughlin, Michael Phelps, Ryan Lochte, like all these exceptional swimmers who've been around for a long time. They do a good job of bringing up the new people on international teams and like sort of not like teaching them, but like being like a good role model figure of like, hey, we've been doing this for a little while. We can like we're here if you guys need us. And then that's just kind of fostered that culture over and over again. It's like a ripple effect of like the positive culture in like the early 2000s by those big name swimmers has rippled now to 2023 that we've got people like Katie Ledecky and Ryan Murphy and so many other people I can name that just keep that positivity going. That'll probably end up in like 5 years be another group of people.
Yep. Yeah, I would definitely say they really set the tone for like future teams, especially because this team, like, we had so many rookies on this team and so many like 18 and under people and so many people making their first world's team. Like my 800 free relay at final session, there was three 18 and under. So it was just crazy to have like the range of older people and younger people. And like I remember Olivia Smoligo she was just such an awesome role model, and Leah Smith and Abby White, so they were all just such awesome role models to have on that team because um they just really set the tone for what it's like because they had their first time being on a world's team and their first time being on an international trip, and they were in the same situation that I was in and all the other people that were on their first team, and they've experienced that, so they just really set a really great tone for those younger people and what those younger people could accomplish at that meet. So
It'll be interesting going into next summer. I remember Swim Swam posted an article in 2021 about like which people on the 2015 World Championship team made the Olympic team the following year. And how, like, in Tokyo, there was a big difference because there was that extra year gap. It'll be interesting to see next year with the amount of new people that made the World Championship team this summer, how that ripples into next summer and, like, this new wave of people that are coming up.
yeah.
Like, it'll be interesting to see the number of people from Tokyo who either missed the team or are not competing, and the number of people from this year who make the team for Paris.
Yeah, it's always so interesting. I mean, I guess that's how sports work, but especially after COVID, I feel like we've seen like a huge increase in just people becoming faster, as simple as that. Like I feel like swimming itself has become so much more competitive like after COVID, and like the first year after like lockdown and stuff, like we saw a decline in, results and stuff, but I feel like now we're only on the uprise of what swimming is able to be and how fast people are able to be. So, it's interesting. I really like it. I love it.
I mean, in like women's backstroke alone, like in the 200 back this summer, like the eighth place at U.S. trials would have made the World Championship final.
Yeah, it's
It's
it's so
insane the depth in not just the U.S. but like around the world in so many different events.
cool. Yeah, I think people are figuring that out, especially internationally. Like, okay, how can we do in this? Like, we can already see it in the women's 500 free right now for college swimming. Last year, I think a 4:36 one, and
It was like 4:38.
yeah, yeah, something like that. And we're already seeing like Bella Sims and people go 4:32. So it's just interesting to see where college swimming is going to end up this year with events that might not have been as competitive last year that people are hungry for this year. So.
It definitely feels like we've entered into like a 500 free renaissance for like on the women's side of
Yeah.
like there's like 6 or 7 different people have beaten the winning time from last year already. And I think Bella Sims has been like 4:29 before. Like it's gonna be crazy to see the difference in the winning time from last year. And like
Yeah.
full credit to Kenzie McMahon, what she did was amazing. She went from like 30th seed to winning the event. But like
Yeah.
it'll be crazy to see the depth that has come up in like 6 months.
Mhm. Yeah, I also think that like along with like the 500 free, I think people are figuring out, especially because the 200 free I feel like is starting to become more competitive. And we kind of saw that at trials, all those girls that were on that team, including myself. And I think it's becoming so much more competitive that people are starting to do the 500 more. I mean, I know I'm trying to do that more myself and just kind of do a little bit more aerobic training to have that set me up for the 200 long course free. So I think the 500 this year is going to be a good one. I think it's going to be
It's
a good one to
definitely a good
watch.
mindset of like if you want to swim a certain event, train for the longer event.
Yeah. Yep.
So talk about like the day to day at Indiana. What's the team atmosphere like, and like in your opinion, what differentiates Indiana from any of like the other top D1 schools?
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said earlier, the coach summer connection is something that we take pride on here, especially myself. I remember when I was visiting Indiana, like I just felt so welcomed right away within the team culture. And I was like, how is this team culture so strong? And like, what do they do on a day-to-day basis to make them sorry, my family's probably yelling in the
You're
background.
fine.
What does this team do from day to day that makes them so like loving towards each other and make them like as a family? And like, on my visit I just felt so included right away. I was like, I have to go here. And so Noelle, be quiet. Sorry about that. So yeah, anyways, the coach summer connection, I think they really set that standard for our team. And what we are in the pool versus what we are outside of the pool. We can be competitive at the pool, but it's all about like keeping that at the pool and keeping your competitive edge at the pool. And then outside of the pool, we're family. We hang out as a family, we do stuff as like a team, but we're more than just teammates. And I love that, like I love that atmosphere right away once I got on campus. And just kind of having teammates more than just be teammates, having them be friends, people to just mess around with, people to like fake fight on the pool deck and shove each other in the pool, not get all worked up about it, and just situations like that. And we really take pride as a team on trying to build our legacy with our team culture, not only like as team culture but also with the swimming side. So we're definitely building something now that's really awesome, and I'm loving of being a part of it. So
Indiana consistently has had like at least some level of success at NCAA's. Like I don't think in the past like decade that they've really been like out of like the top 10 on either the men's or the women's side. I mean, I might be wrong, but like at least recently they haven't been. So
Yeah,
obviously it's working.
so my freshman year, I think we placed 11th at NCAA's, and that was the lowest we've been in a while. And after that year, we were kind of like, okay, like what could we do better? Like we have the swimming side of things, but what can we do better as a team? And so we kind of took that mindset leading into the next year, and we had all of our returning people. So our team was not really that much different than it was my freshman year, and we had all of our returning people, and we were like, what can we do better? And so we kind of took our team and we started hanging out more and kind of doing stuff as a team more to kind of build that team culture. And my sophomore year was unmatched. We had the best NCAA's. We tied our highest team score of seventh. And I just want to like thank that to like our team culture. And we have the swimming side of things, but once again we have the team side of things, and it's like how we are as a family and how we are as sisters and brothers and all that kind of stuff. And I remember at NCAA's last year when we were just on fire, we would come back from every session and we would do shout outs on the bus, and we would always play these games that were just so stupid that didn't have anything to do with like sports or anything. They just helped us as our team culture and help us, kind of building that legacy that we want to leave. So
I think that's especially where like the true bond that's where the things that people remember are formed. Like they'll remember the swimming, they'll remember like the successes and the times, but like at least for me, like now that I'm out of eligibility with my college team, the stuff that I remember is like the bonds that you make with people and like the good memories of doing random stupid things like playing any sort of random game, like trying to find a certain color of car while you're driving on the bus somewhere. That like so you're right. It's those little things that you remember that are like the most important to building that team culture and that legacy.
yeah, I remember this summer when we were in Japan, it was like a couple nights before the meet had started. And the captains on our team had this game, and I've never played it before, but I definitely want to bring it to my team this year before like Big Tens or NCAA's. And two people hold a sheet or like a blanket to where you can't see the other side. And so there's two teams, and then you have somebody from your team sit up right in front of the sheet while it's still holded up. And on the count of three, the two people that are holding the sheet drop it, and you have to see the person across from you, and you have to say what events they're swimming as fast as you can before they can say your events. And then if you beat them, then they come to your team, and you have to try and get as many people on your team to win. And I just remember that being, like the most fun game ever. And yeah, it was like swimming involved, but like it helped us just kind of like get to know each other better and kind of have fun like leading into the meet. And it's just like the little things like that and little games that you can play and little games that you can bring to your team that really mean the most. So, yeah.
That's really funny because a lot of the people who were playing that game, they were probably have been like a lot of those veterans have probably been on the team since like the Rio Olympics. And there's a video online, and I'll send it to you, of it's like a brief clip, but it's like a montage of like the Rio Olympic team, like and their training camp and everything. And there's a brief clip where they're playing that game.
Oh,
So
I have not
like,
seen that. That's so
so
great.
I'll find that and I'll send it to you. But it's like a 3 second clip. But that's really funny that it's like it's carried over for this long. So obviously it's a fun game. Obviously it's working. But you were
Yeah.
talking about it, and I'm like, wait, I've seen this before.
I love it. Yeah. And even if like people on our college team, we all know what each other like we all know what we swim, but it's just a matter of like the heat of the moment. Like who are you? What do you swim? What are you swimming at this meet? And it's just like fast as you can. And then I just remember laughing so hard because like I knew what all these people were swimming at the meet, but I'd see them and then I would just glitch. I'd be like, I don't know. Because they're trying to beat you and you're trying to beat them. People are yelling. It's chaos, but it's
It's
fun.
not like trying to think on your feet, and you just kind of like
Yeah.
you're like, I don't remember what you're saying.
It's like organized chaos, I feel like.
So talk about swimming with your sister, who's now on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
How did that improve your experience in the team, and like, was there any sort of like sibling rivalry that took place? Like, you guys ever get to race each other in an event? Like, did you ever cross over in any events?
Yeah, so I think it's really great because we didn't swim any of the same events. She swam IM and breaststroke and I swam backstroke and freestyle. So we never collided in any events, which was great. We did collide in a little bit of practices here and there, but um I would say having her on the team for the 2 years that she was on the team when she did her fifth year and stuff, it was just something that was like I would say just so rewarding in the sense that I was able to have like family with me, aside from all my teammates and stuff. We just had such a good time day in and day out, and sometimes we would come in with like a Celsius in our hand and just start like yelling. Like it was just such a good time together, and especially like in our lactate practices when we would race each other next to each other and at meets and stuff. She just really set the tone and set the example of what it's like to be like a good leader, as well as like kind of having that role model as my sister on the team. And now she's on the coaching staff, which is so great. And we have our boundaries here and there, but it's just so great still being able to have her as like that role model for our team. And once again, just helping her, or her helping us build a legacy that we want to leave. So it was great. And we also swam club together. So I remember swimming club when she was a senior and I was a freshman. I was like, I don't want her to leave. I remember being so upset. And like when she left for college, I just had such like a heart-wrenching feeling in me being like, are we ever going to swim together again? And then sure enough, we got 2 more years together once I came to IU, it was unmatched. So
I had a similar experience where it wasn't my brother, but it was like one of my best friends that I swim with on club, and he's like 2 years younger than me. And when I swim for my local community college, I just kind of accepted like we weren't gonna get to swim together again. And then when he graduated high school, he came to the community college team, and it was my final year of eligibility, and it was his last year before he went off to Canada for college. So it was like a similar, like, we had a blast. We would be in the locker room like 30 minutes before practice talking about anything. But so I definitely get what you mean, like that bond of just like having somebody that's family or like family that you can just do the stupidest things with, and you don't care because you're just having fun.
yeah, you almost like can't describe it to someone unless they've experienced it. I
Yeah.
would say it's just something that's really great. Noelle, be quiet. She's not very young about that.
So my second to last question for you, and this one's just a fun one that I thought about asking you earlier. Have you gone back to Panda Express since making the World Championship team?
We actually don't have one in Bloomington, which is tough. But I that's so funny. Yeah, we don't have one in Bloomington, but everyone is always so upset about it. So when we travel like to meets and stuff that have a Panda Express there, they're always like, all right, like let's Uber Eats Panda Express instead of getting a team meal that we have tonight. So it's always good going somewhere that actually has Panda.
That's funny that it's not as like common in like Indiana, because like in my town we've got three.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait,
I'm in Livermore,
where do you?
California, like 40 minutes south of San Francisco.
Nice. That's so nice.
All right, so my
I
last
feel
my
like they
last
have
thing
everything.
for you. Hmm. Go
I feel
ahead.
like they have everything in California.
I mean, like at least in like Livermore's a small town. It's like 90,000 people, and we have like three Jamba Juice, like two Burger Kings, three different like of the same grocery store. It's so weird. We have like so many duplicates of everything.
That's so convenient. I love it.
So my last question for you is not really a question. It's more of just something that I let everybody do at the end of each interview. Is just time to promote something of your choice. So it could be like your Instagram or like a sponsorship or just literally Caitlin Sandino promoted like being kind to people. So it's just time for you to it's just time for you to speak whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of go off of that, just being kind to people. You never know when someone's gonna have a bad day, or someone's already having a bad day, and they walk into practice, and the last thing they want up into the pool. Just kind of doing what you can to be there for people because you never know what's going through. I think that goes a long way with everyone. On the pool deck, in the classroom, when you're at home with your family, like you never know when someone's going through something. So the least you can do to someone is be happy, be kind, be yourself, be authentic with them, and just kind of overall just be nice to people. As simple as that might be.
It sounds like you guys have a culture and philosophy over at Indiana, especially amongst like that the coaches like help perpetrate and that the swimmers like continue, like that falls in line with what you're saying of just being kind to others and a sense of unity. Like Ray really made a point of telling me like how people of opposing ideologies or religions or or like opposing anything, how they were able to come together on the team and like have like this sense of family and unity.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're all doing one thing, and that's swimming. And, it's kind of how fun we can make it. And if we're all having a rough practice, or if there's people in your lane that are, might be complaining about something, it's just like, all right, like, let's take a step back. We're all here with each other. We're all having fun, doing something that we love. How can we, like, use this attitude that we might be having, or use this negative mindset towards the set? How can we flip that over and, you know, make jokes with each other, or talk about something that's not swimming to get our mind off of swimming, or just kind of overall just trying to have fun even when it might not be always fun.
I think it speaks to like how like top college swimming culture has changed because at least from what I know of like swimming like D1 swimming in like the early 2000s and the 90s and the 80s, it was a lot of like work 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 and no like culture atmosphere. It was just how can we be the most successful and swim as much as possible. And now it's more of how can we be happy swimmers and how can we have this team culture. And it's been more successful, like provably more successful than it was in like 20, 30 years ago.
Yep, happy swimmers are fast swimmers. Whether that be just eating an ice cream cone before your race, happy swimmers are fast swimmers.
I had a buddy who would do a deep yawn before his race, before he got up on the blocks. All right, Anna. Well, thank you so much for your time. This was great. I'll have the
Yeah,
interview
thank you.
posted probably early next week, probably Monday or Tuesday.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a
Yeah,
pleasure.
thanks for being on.